And let me tell you, they're not safe. This is why we need to conduct oversight, because your people continue. In fact, you have lost more lives in detention than anybody else. That is your record right now. So I don't expect that y'all are going to be the ones that are going to be best to keep them safe. This is why we are supposed to conduct oversight and not wait for you to give permission. In fact, after I left the Dilley facility...
Hey folks, today's got some real heat from the House Judiciary Committee hearing. Rep. Jasmine Crockett, DTX, straight up grilling DHS Secretary Noem on immigration detention issues, including access for oversight and some tragic losses of life. If you're tired of the usual spin, stick around as I break it down fairly. But first, let's dive into the clip that's got everyone buzzing. This exchange is intense.
States sue DHS again over cuts to anti-terrorism grants for blue states.
Without objection, the gentlelady from Texas is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much. And Madam Secretary, you are almost to the end, so congratulations. I just have a couple of questions. Are you aware that the law that was written by this Congress makes it clear that members of Congress are allowed to, entitled to enter any detention?
Representative Crockett, I apologize. I have to run to vote in another committee, Secretary, and Mr. Schmidt will chair, and you will get extra 15 seconds, but I apologize for that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much
Mr.
for your
Chairman.
testimony.
Appreciate it.
Are you aware that the law makes it clear that members of Congress are allowed to enter any detention facility at any point in time in which they choose to?
Yes, I'm aware of the visitation and oversight responsibility, and we work every day to try to accommodate members of Congress while taking into account the safety of those individuals that are being detained
be clear.
there.
At any time, correct?
Yes, I understand there's litigation in this area.
No, that's not my question. I'm not asking you about litigation.
Yeah.
I'm asking you what the law is, because let me put it to you this
There's
way.
an appropriations rider that talks about
Correct,
oversight.
and appropriations are law, because you are asking us to
Correct.
appropriate dollars right now for DHS, correct?
Correct.
And if we do that, you would take that as law, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that is what the law states, yet somehow, myself and another colleague, Congressman Castro, we ended up giving a 7-day notice to the Dilley detention facility because I had actually already gone to El Paso before. And when I went to that facility and I asked them why it was that they were requiring me to do something that specifically my branch of government had dictated was not required, they said it was because of you. They said you were the one that said that they were not allowed to allow us entry unless we gave a 7 days heads up. Is that true?
Yeah. The law specifically states oversight and visitations, and we are working to facilitate those. And we're at that time working to...
Did you give the instruction that members must give a 7 days heads up or not?
We had a policy in place that allowed us to get
Were you the one that ordered that policy?
I have a responsibility for ensuring everybody in that facility is going to be safe, and that I have adequate
no, but that's not my question, because the
conduct
problem,
a tour
let me tell you why we need to, reclaiming my time. The reason that I'm talking to you about this policy and you're talking to me about safety is because I did go into the Dilley detention facility. And let me tell you, they're not safe. This is why we need to conduct oversight, because your people continue. In fact, you have lost more lives in detention than anybody else. That is your record right now. So I don't expect that y'all are going to be the ones that are going to be best to keep them safe. This is why we are supposed to conduct oversight and not wait for you to give permission. In fact, after I left the Dilley facility, we were informed of a measles outbreak that was taking place in that facility. And another question I have, are you the one that ordered it to be reopened because that facility was closed under Joe Biden?
Those facilities were opened with the new administration. I'd have to look and see.
Okay, you're part of the new administration. Were you the one that ordered it to be open is my question.
I would have to see when it was opened, because I wasn't sworn in until 5 days after.
Okay, well, it was
in
reopened in
office, so
March.
I would have to look at when
it was reopened in March of last year.
Well, then I'm sure that contract would have been renewed while I was secretary.
Speaking of contracts, as I have actually, you know what? Let me continue on this line of y'all breaking the law. Are you familiar with a child by the name of Liam Ramos?
I am.
All right, so Liam was at this Dilley facility, and it just so happened that we had put in our 7 days notice, and y'all had grabbed him 6 days prior to our visit. So we were able to go and visit Liam. Are you aware of the court order that came down that released Liam from custody?
I am.
And are you aware that the judge said The case has its genesis in an ill-conceived and incompetently implemented government pursuit of daily deportation quotas, apparently even if it requires traumatizing children. This court and others regularly send undocumented people to prison and orders them deported, but do so by proper legal procedures. Are you aware of that?
Yes, and I would disagree with the judge on several
I'm
points
sure you would,
in
but can
there.
you tell me whether or not
That
you have a law
father-
degree?
Father chose to.
Can you tell me whether or not you have a law degree?
If I have what?
A law degree.
No, I do not have a law
Okay,
degree.
and you do understand, because I can go through a bunch of court cases and orders that I disagree with from the Supreme Court, that ultimately, that is the order of the court. That is what you follow, and if you have an issue, you appeal it up, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. The court went on to say, apparent also is the government's ignorance of an American historical document called the Declaration of Independence. 33-year-old Thomas Jefferson enumerated grievances against a would-be authoritarian king over his nascent nation. Among others were, he has sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people. He has excited domestic insurrection among us, for quartering large bodies of armed troops among us. He has kept us among, in times of peace, standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. Are you aware that he wrote that? Do you know that he was writing about ICE that falls under you?
The judge?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. With that, I will yield, but I do have two UCs. The first UC is ICE training was slashed, records show corroborating whistleblower claims from the Washington Post on yesterday.
Without objection.
The second one is FEMA's response to Texas flood slowed by Noem's cost controls. This is out of CNN from July 10th of 2025.
Without objection.
Thank you so much.
That's where Crockett drops the bombshell. You have lost more lives in detention than anybody else. That is your record right now. It's a tense moment that highlights the frustration over safety and oversight. Okay, back to me. Let's unpack this step by step. Based on the facts from the C-SPAN transcript and recent reports, the hearing focused on DHS operations under Noem, particularly immigration detention facilities. Crockett pressed Noem on a policy requiring members of Congress to give 7 days notice before visiting, something Crockett says contradicts appropriations law, which allows unannounced oversight to ensure accountability. Noem defended it as necessary for safety, citing ongoing efforts to accommodate visits while protecting detainees and staff. This ties into broader issues. DHS reopened facilities like the one in Dilley, Texas, which was closed under Biden but renewed under the current admin. Crockett highlighted a measles outbreak there post-visit in a court case involving a child named Liam Ramos, where a judge criticized DHS for ill-conceived deportation quotas that traumatize kids. On one hand, Noem's points make sense. Detention centers deal with complex situations, and safety protocols are crucial, especially with high volumes. DHS reports from late 2025 showed they processed millions at the border, and policies, like notice requirements, could prevent disruptions. Fair to say, the admin's focus on enforcement has led to drops in crossings in some areas. Per Reuters data from February 2026, down about 30% year-over-year in targeted spots. On the other hand, Crockett's pushback highlights real concerns about transparency and human costs. The judge in the Ramos case slammed DHS for ignoring legal procedures and even referenced the Declaration of Independence to call out overreach. That's heavy stuff. NYT and Washington Post pieces from 2025 corroborate whistleblower claims of slashed training and high detention deaths, with over 20 reported in custody last year alone, higher than previous admins according to advocacy groups like ACLU. Critics argue these policies prioritize quotas over humane treatment, leading to outbreaks and tragedies. As a regular guy paying bills here, I'm concerned about the balance. We need secure borders, but not at the expense of basic rights or oversight. I get why Noem emphasizes safety. No one wants chaos in facilities. But if Congress can't drop in unannounced, how do we catch problems like that measles outbreak early? It's frustrating when our tax dollars fund this, yet accountability feels blocked. This all connects directly to everyday life for us Americans. Think about it, immigration policies affect communities nationwide, from border states dealing with strains on resources to families worried about humane treatment. With midterms coming in November 2026, polls from Pew in early March show immigration as a top issue for 55% of voters, splitting along lines but uniting on the need for reform. If oversight lapses lead to more tragedies, it erodes trust in government, hits our wallets through lawsuits or inefficiencies, and fuels the division we're all tired of. On the flip side, effective enforcement could ease local burdens, like reducing costs for emergency services, but only if done right, without the human toll. Wrapping up, this hearing shows the tough spot we're in. Strong borders versus compassionate, transparent processes. Both sides raise valid points, but we need facts from audits to move forward without more loss. What do you think? Is Crockett right to push for no notice visits? Or does Noem have a point on safety? Share in the comments. I'm curious about your takes from across the aisle. If this fair breakdown helped, give it a like, subscribe for more neutral dives into DC drama, and hit notifications. Let's add a poll. Should Congress have unannounced access to detention centers? Yes, no with some limits. Thanks for tuning in. Stay engaged, and take care out there.